Hello, everyone, and welcome to another chapter of the UI Reach Summer Orientation remote video series. This presentation is the academic overview, and I'm happy to present on behalf of the academic team and all of our wonderful instructors here at UI Reach. My name is Jordan Immerfall, and I am the academic coordinator. So our goal today will be to review the basics of the academic offerings and support that we provide here at UI Reach, sort of give you the big picture view, and that will give you some time to generate any questions you have that you can either bring to the Q&A session for these remote series at orientation, or as always, you can reach out to myself or any other UI Reach instructor or academic team member with any of your questions. So at UI Reach, we have some areas of focus, and while some of them are purely academic in nature, our goal is that through all of our academic coursework, we are providing instruction and support pointed directly towards any of these 6 areas. So we have academics and lifelong learning, career and vocation. So we offer career and vocational educational opportunities that are not only in the classroom, but experiential, that the career team has developed and supports. Community and leisure, independent and daily life, self-advocacy and self-determination, and social and interpersonal. You will come to recognize these subcategories as the same ones that you will see on the UI Reach benchmarks and UI Reach progress reports, and they guide all of our instruction and reporting. And our goal is to make sure that everything we do is pointed towards one of these areas, and that all of our skill building is focused in this content and grounded here, as well as providing reporting to indicate student progression, growth, and also a accurate snapshot of how students are doing in each of these areas. So how do we do this? One way is through UI Reach course offerings. Here are a list of courses that UI Reach students will take, or most UI Reach students will take while here. A number of these courses are ones that we would consider all cohort classes. So Computers and Tech 1, for example, or the personal finance courses, those are classes that all of our students will take. Within some of these categories, reading and writing strategies, for example, students are given the opportunity to indicate if those classes are part of their growth area of focus and or something that they want to focus time on. Usually, we offer guidance in saying that in each of these areas. So for example, reading and writing strategies, we may say that students need to take 4 credit hours of a reading and or writing strategies class within their first 2 years here. Students are allowed to enroll in as many as they would like, but must complete a base number to be recommended for graduation in years 2, 3, or 4. And those materials that outline all of the registration and the course sequencing will be provided later on. In addition to the courses here, as you note at the bottom, there's a growing list of elective offerings. And this is not an exhaustive list, just to give you an idea of what some of the electives that we have are. And we're continuing to grow and develop these topics each year to provide topical and new offerings that are engaging with students, but also meaningful to them and their goals. And so we evolve as a program to make sure that we are providing academic programming that meets the demands and needs of students and parents. How do we do this? Our classrooms, each classroom is led by a UI Reach instructor. We're very blessed to have a great team of instructors that are well qualified and dedicated to providing students the best learning opportunity that they possibly can. Within these classes, we often have a cross-curricular growth focus. And so you will notice that when you get progress reports or you learn about the UI Reach benchmarks, there are not grades. Grades are not received in a similar manner that some students or that you may be used to in K-12 settings or sometimes even higher ed, in that our benchmarks or the primary focus of our reporting are skill sets and less so grades particular to one class. And so what that means is that a student might be working on a skill in more than one class. For example, technology use, safe and accurate use of technology would be one that we would be working on specifically in a computers and technology class, but also a skill that students will be working on and assessed in a number of different classes. And this allows us to not only help students generalize skills in a number of different settings, which is a well-proven strategy to help them carry on that skill and build on it and be a lifelong learner in that area, but also to give accurate reporting in seeing students produce and generate or represent their knowledge of a certain skill set in a lot of different areas in different settings. Within these course sections, we offer differentiation not only in the course sections, but within the courses themselves. And what that means is that there are certain classes, reading strategies is one, for example, that we will use different sections to split students into classes where the instruction can be given at their level. And there are certain classes that is more important for: personal finance, things like math, reading and writing. In those areas, we'll make sure to have students grouped likely so that they are able to receive instruction at their level. And within those classes, because we know that just because we might split a reading class into 4 different, or a cohort of students into 4 different reading sections, even within that, all of our learners are different, not only in their ability levels, but in the way that they access and process material. And so because of that, we have a high focus and deliberate attempt at differentiating the academic material that we provide and the strategies that we use within each class to make sure that students can access content in a way that is meaningful for them, and that we're diverse in how we provide that content so that students have different chances or different ways that they can learn about certain topics. That is often what I've just described there is called UDL, Universal Design for Learning. And that is something that we put a heavy focus on while we are developing and delivering coursework. In all of the classes, there's also a lot of technology or assistive technology, also known as AT, integration there. And the bigger point being here is that with all students having a laptop or Chromebook, it allows us to mirror the environments that will occur outside of the classroom in which technology is heavily used. And so we'll have almost all classes have a website. They will be completing a lot of their coursework online, and really allows them to sharpen their technology skills while here, whether the lesson be specifically about technology or not. And so you'll see some great skill development in our students throughout their years here because of that. We have a lot of support staff and volunteers that are involved in the classroom. We have UI Reach mentors. We have volunteers that come from the College of Education and also all over the campus. And we have any number of other individuals, interns, and/or other partners on campus that may be involved in support staff roles that are very important in supporting our students and their individual learning needs. And not only within classrooms in giving students some choice about the content that they're learning and/or the way in which they learn, we also have put a big focus on providing a menu of classes that allows students to indicate their preferences and goals in choosing those classes that will allow students and their support teams to sort of curate an experience here at UI Reach that is best met with their needs and wants in mind. Okay, as mentioned earlier, the bulk of the reporting that you will see from us here at UI Reach will come through in these benchmarks and using a standards-based grading system. And so as mentioned, these grades are cross-curricular as opposed to being compartmentalized to just one class, and they're all in a specific skill set. And on each of those benchmarks in skills, you will see a numeric grade that is attached to each, and the proficiency levels are indicated down below, which with each of those numbers. And so 3 is usually the sort of the watermark that we start at. And 3 indicates that a student has reached proficiency based on the wording of that benchmark. And so if a student has earned a 3 on that specific skill, that means that they were able to represent and repeat proficiency in that specific skill without any support. They received support in learning and getting to that point, but were able to complete the skill independently, usually more than once, to earn a grade of 3. And then as you can see, and we try and use language here that's as clear and simple as possible and to help everyone understand, which number means what. A 2.5 would mean that the student needed a little bit of help to demonstrate proficiency in that benchmark, and then it incrementally steps down from there. So a 2 would mean moderate assistance. 1.5 is significant assistance to demonstrate any knowledge of and or proficiency in that benchmark. And a 1 would mean that we had no evidence of knowledge in that area. Anything beyond a 3 is pretty exceptional and not something that you should expect or necessarily should even be a goal of students. It would mean that a student demonstrated knowledge of or proficiency in an area that went beyond anything that we taught here at UI Reach. Typically, it would mean that they're able to not only be proficient in the skill themselves, but can teach the skill to others and or demonstrate advanced concepts within that skill. So often we'll hear, how can I earn a 3.5 or 4? And sometimes that's very difficult. It still can be a goal for students, but moreover, what we really want students to understand is that what we're shooting for is that independent ability level on some of these skill sets, which is achievable for some students, but not all. And we recognize and hope that students and families recognize that while a 3 is a goal for some students in certain areas, it's not going to be a goal for all students in all areas. And the best that we can do is make sure that we provide a learning environment that allows students to make growth wherever they're at, and support and celebrate their success in that growth along the way, even if that means a 2 or a 2.5 as the ending point for that student. Brief little note here on course requirements. While we do provide standards-based grades, we also must provide grades to the university on whether a student passed a class. And the short version of this is if students show up and do their work, they'll pass the class. That means 70% attendance, and 70% of class assignments must be turned in. If we were to get to a point where a student is not meeting those expectations, we would help come up with a support plan for that student and develop additional supports and conversation around how we can make sure students are able to achieve at a 70% or higher level, just so that we don't get to the end of the semester and it's a surprise that maybe a student hadn't reached these benchmarks. And so if that were to happen, and or students were to continue to have trouble meeting these course requirements in the academic success plan, it is possible that other parties would be involved and students could receive status implications based on that. So really the big takeaway here is make sure you get to classes and make sure that you complete your assignments and you'll be in good shape. In addition to our UI Reach coursework, UI Reach students also have the opportunity to enroll in undergraduate classes at the University of Iowa. Students have the option to enroll in classes for credit or audit, As students make decisions to enroll in these classes, one of the first decisions is whether it is for credit or audit. And credit means that they can take the class for university credit and are able to transfer that credit out of the university. At this time, there's no additional cost for students to take classes as credit or audit. But that is something that is continually reassessed by the university. And so an audit would mean that students are able to participate in the class, get experience with integrated coursework, complete whichever coursework they would like, but do not have to worry about the grade as part of that class, which would also mean that it's not a class 4 credit they can transfer out. And I say transfer out, you can also transfer it in if a student were to earn enough credits that can allow them to transfer all those credits into the University of Iowa and enroll as a regularly matriculated student after a number of classes and coursework requirements have been met. And so students that do take classes for credit or audit, we recommend that they register with Student Disability Services to receive accommodations. And this could be something like things that you might see on an IEP, extended time. But there are areas that would not necessarily decrease the rigor of the coursework, but just allow that student some flexibility in how they're accessing and delivering some of the content knowledge that they have. We do provide some support here within UI Reach for students that are taking classes for credit, but we do make students and families aware that we do not provide a full service tutoring support for students if they were to have classes that had a lot of homework that they needed support with. Generally speaking, we have opportunities in some of the support labs and or other academic support places in the schedule that students could receive up to 1 to 2 hours a week of some guidance on some of their coursework and just making sure that they're getting done what they need to do. Anything beyond that would be provided outside of the UI Reach sort of offering or support offerings that we have. So that ends our presentation today. Thank you for listening. And of course, I'm sure that with a quick overview here, you'll have many questions. So please feel free to email those out or to bring those to the orientation session and we can talk more soon. Take care and see you soon.